the state of diversity and inclusion, and how has that grown? Has it grown? And where are we now compared to, when you first arrived?
Sure. And I think I'll answer your question by dividing those two words: diversity, which is a numerical head count,
Right.
who's here, and inclusion is about how we engage with each other once we are here.
Okay.
And so I'll say that our campus is like many other campuses, and particularly many other campuses in the Big Ten. There has been fairly limited representation of our underrepresented domestic students. We're a different campus in that we have a wonderful international student population, but we really haven't seen the kind of movement that we want to see with respect to our underrepresented minorities coming in to bring even a richer experience on the campus. I believe through a number of initiatives that we've seen opportunities where the inclusiveness of the campus is beginning to change. But with all of this, culture is a hard thing to move.
Yeah.
It takes time, and it's one person at a time. It's the collective buy-in, collective responsibility to make this the kind of campus that we want it to be. As a campus, we were probably the last, or one of the last groups in the CIC to have an office such as the one that I currently lead. So compared to other campuses, we still have a lot of growing to do, but I'm absolutely proud of the work that we've done so far, and am expecting a lot more in the years to come.
Well, Purdue in itself is a really interesting case study. I mean, as you mentioned, we have, I think, the second largest number of international students in America. We have a very diverse by numbers, if you will, campus. But if you walk around campus, there's always this visual divide, and it's ever evident. I've been here for over 4 years, and people seem to stick with others that look like themselves, and there seems to be this lack of integration. And we can't even say that we're going to blame them for doing that, because people seem to flock, towards people that are like them. That being said, though, the other part of diversity is the follow through after getting the numbers, the integration and the inclusion part of it. How do we break those silos? How do we combine people and make them understand that this is our culture altogether?
The major drivers, and we began to work on this last year, as we talk to employers, one of the things that they're saying to us is that we're looking for students or employees who, one, know their discipline, but more than that they know what it means to work effectively with people that are very different than themselves. And that's part of what I'm trying to hope that we can do in terms of incentivizing and encouraging students to move differently, because the real downside of coming to a campus like ours, if you come and stay with your like group, you do not begin to maximize on the power of the experience of living in a residential campus with people here from all over the world.
Right.
And so I think for anybody who is different than the majority, there is in part, one, the need to be around people that you're naturally comfortable with. You don't have that cultural space to move through. So people need that. But also we need to all, and when I say all, I mean all 40-some thousand students,
Sure.
challenge ourselves to step out of our comfort zone in order to find a way to interact with people that are different than ourselves. So that's a collective responsibility. And I'm hoping that students acknowledge that not only is it a collective responsibility, but it really is something that will distinguish them when it's time for employment. Because that's oftentimes the next logical step after.
So they should be
experience.
incentivized by their, I guess, what their future holds.
Absolutely, because employers are saying, and we had a group of major employers come to the campus last year to do a program to talk about your competitive edge. And these folks were saying, we may hire people into our company, but the likelihood of your getting promoted is really tied to how you're able to work with people that are different. To me, if I were a young person, that would be a motivator for me.
As you said, this campus hasn't always been welcoming to students who are underrepresented, let's say. Has that affected maybe dropout rates? Has that affected the percentage of underrepresented students finishing their Purdue degree?
Well, I think it's probably affected, been one of many factors that have affected lots of different groups. And I wouldn't want to leave this just to a racial and ethnic piece, because there's also it's been a hard place for students who are a part of the LGBTQ
Sure.
community. So
Absolutely.
anything that moves away from what we would consider standard,
Right.
what is generally considered a standard, I think has been challenged at times by the environment. So anything that keeps you from feeling like you're a part of, behavior that you may experience that says you're different or you don't fundamentally belong here, probably may be one of the factors that contributes to a student not being successful, if that's the case. But then there are also students, and that's why it's difficult to make generalizations.
Right.
So Benjamin E. Mays, who's one of the first African American graduates of West Point, the entire time that he was in school, he never had a roommate. When he was in his classroom, they put a rope between him, all the other students. No one ever spoke to him on the CAF. They only spoke to him when they had to. But he graduated. So that experience does not necessarily keep you from moving forward, but it could be a factor that makes a difference.
Sure. And taking it in a different direction now,
Mm-hmm.
if we could, and I know that that your department particularly will be focusing on combating microaggressions that are displayed
Mm-hmm.
Through this campus, and that's something that you guys have been doing
Mm-hmm.
for a while. I guess, how do you keep the hope up, in a sense? Like, when a student from an underrepresented group feels as though the microaggressions will never go away, what do you tell that student?
Well, it's quite likely that they will never go away. And we do need to spend some time there, but I see a larger agenda item
Okay.
as really helping those who might be more likely to say microaggressions, to educate around why that's not a good idea. Do you see what I'm saying? Because ultimately what we're looking for is a shift in culture, a shift in behavior, a shift in thinking. And so the focus is not so much on those who might be most greatly impacted, but those who might engage in this behavior, to make sure that they're fully aware of the impact of the things that they do and say. And if you don't have awareness, you can never take action.